I make too much money to feel broke. 20 years. That's how long I've been sitting across from people saying that exact sentence. Teachers, nurses, sales guys, business owners, couples making six figures while quietly wondering why they still feel one emergency away from disaster. I'm Ben Matthews, your friendly neighborhood bankruptcy attorney, and this is Debt Sucks. And after 20 years of doing this work, here's what I've learned. Most people don't actually have a money problem. They have a chaos problem. Because chaos eats paychecks. Chaos creates overdrafts. Chaos creates DoorDash at 9:47 p.m. because everybody's exhausted and nobody planned dinner. Chaos creates late fees, impulse buys, forgotten subscriptions, missed payments, panic decisions, and we'll figure it out later. And if you keep treating chaos like it's just a math issue, you will keep fixing the wrong thing. You'll budget harder. You'll download another app. You'll promise yourself next month will be different. Meanwhile, the real problem keeps sitting there untouched. Your life is running without margin, without systems, and without recovery time. And eventually that chaos turns into debt. Not because you're stupid, not because you're lazy, but because you're exhausted. And exhausted people make expensive decisions. Most people think their situation comes down to one thing. I don't make enough money. That's the story. If I just made more, this would all go away. And look, sometimes income is part of the problem. I'm not going to pretend it's not. But here's what I see every single day in my office. I see people making $40,000 a year, $80,000 a year, $150,000 a year, sometimes more, in the exact same position. Same stress, same anxiety, same I don't know where it's all going feeling. So if income was a real problem, higher income would consistently fix it, and it doesn't. Let me tell you what actually shows up in real life. It's usually not one giant catastrophic event. It's not one dramatic mistake. It's a pattern, a very normal, very human, very quiet pattern. It looks like this. Something unexpected happens. You adjust. You get a raise or start doing a little better. So you upgrade a little. Better apartment, nicer car, few more subscriptions. Maybe finally take the vacation. Then something else hits. You adjust again. You get a little behind. You catch up. Then something else happens. And over time, you stop feeling in control. Not because you're irresponsible, not because you're lazy, but because your entire financial life is quietly turned into reaction mode. You're not really deciding anymore. You're responding, managing, putting out fires, trying to keep all the plates spinning without dropping one. And eventually that kind of chaos starts masquerading as a money problem. So let's define this clearly. Because when people hear the word chaos, they picture some dramatic disaster movie. Cars flipping over, a guy yelling into a cell phone, somebody sprinting through an airport for no reason. But most financial chaos looks completely normal. It looks like not actually knowing what your monthly obligations really are. Guessing instead of tracking. Making decisions based on what feels urgent instead of what matters. Moving money around like a financial game of whack-a-mole. Avoiding the full picture because every time you look at it, your blood pressure spikes. Chaos is when you say things like, we're doing okay, I think. Or this one, as long as nothing else happens. Which is adorable. Because something else is always about to happen. That's adult life. The water heater doesn't call ahead and ask if this is a good month. And here's what chaos really looks like in practice. You get paid Friday. You feel hopeful for about 6 minutes. Then the car payment hits. Daycare hits. Somebody needs new tires. Your kid suddenly remembers a trip permission slip from 11 minutes before bedtime. And somehow Amazon has charged you for 3 subscriptions you forgot existed. Now you're transferring money between accounts like you're hiding assets from the federal government. That's chaos. It's when your money starts controlling you instead of you controlling your money. And once that starts, everything gets harder. Your stress goes up, your sleep gets worse, your relationships get shorter, every decision feels heavier because there's no margin anywhere. You're not building a life anymore. You're managing emergencies with AI and caffeine. why money advice fails. See, this is where most financial advice completely misses the mark because most advice assumes you are already in control. It tells you to budget better or invest more, cut expenses, optimize your spending. But here's the problem. Optimization only works when there's stability. You cannot optimize chaos. You can't build a perfect budget on top of constantly shifting ground. That's like trying to build a house during an earthquake. Chaos just doesn't affect your bank account. It affects everything. It affects your decision making. I mean, when you're under constant financial stress, your brain goes into survival mode. You stop thinking long term and you start thinking, what gets me through today? See, financial stress is exhausting. It's not just emotional, it's physical. It shows up as bad sleep, constant background anxiety, that low level tension you carry all day. And when you're tired, you make worse decisions. Time. Every financial obligation you take on is a claim on your future time. Every payment is time you've already committed to working. And when chaos takes over, you lose control of your future calendar. Relationships. See, money stress rarely stays constrained. It leaks into conversations, arguments, silence, avoidance. And suddenly it's not just about money anymore. Let me bring this down to real life with a listener question. Hey Ben, I don't feel like I'm doing anything crazy with money, but I still feel like I'm always behind. I pay my bills, I try to be responsible, but it never feels like I'm getting ahead. What am I missing? So first, that question, that's about 80% of the people I talk to. And here's what you're missing. You're trying to win a control problem with discipline. And discipline is not the answer because discipline breaks down when life gets messy. And life always gets messy. So it's not really a money problem. It's not just a discipline problem. Then what is it? It's a control problem. More specifically, a lack of money control wealth. This is the first non-negotiable in the True Wealth Playbook. And let me be clear about something. Money control wealth is not about becoming some miserable financial monk who only eats beans and rice in a dark apartment while yelling at people about coupons. That's not wealth. That's punishment with a spreadsheet. Money control wealth is about something much more important. It's about being able to make decisions about money without panic. It's the ability to look at a car repair or a slow month at work or a surprise expense without immediately feeling your chest tighten. It's knowing what's happening in your financial life, knowing what your obligations actually are, knowing where your money is going, and more importantly, having enough clarity and margin to influence the outcome instead of just reacting to it. Because when people lose money control wealth, they stop making decisions and they start making emergencies. Everything becomes what gets paid first? What can wait? What do I move around? What do I ignore and hope fixes itself? You see, that's not control. That's survival mode wearing business casual clothes. Now, control is not perfection. And let me say that again, all right? Control is not perfection. Control looks like you know what you owe. You know what's coming in. You know what's going out. You have a plan, even if it's not a perfect one. Control means when something happens, you respond on purpose, not by panic. So how do you fix chaos? Not with a budget, not with an app, not with some complicated system. You fix it with something very simple and very uncomfortable. You look at it fully, honestly, no skipping, no minimizing, no I'll deal with it later. And this is what I call the brutally honest money breakdown. It's available free at debtsucks.info. Most people aren't stuck because their situation is impossible. They're stuck because they haven't fully faced it yet. Not because they're weak, but because it's uncomfortable. It brings up shame. It forces decisions. So instead, we stay in partial awareness. We look at pieces. We avoid the whole. And chaos thrives in partial awareness. But when you actually sit down and map out everything, something shifts. Not your situation immediately, but your relationship to it. You go from, I don't know what's happening to, I see it. And that moment, that's the beginning of control. From there, everything else starts to make sense. See, now you can build your rock pile, where you finally list every debt, every payment, every interest rate, and stop letting your financial life hide in the shadows. You create your shit happens fund because adult life is basically a subscription service for unexpected expenses. Start a level up money plan where you stop surviving paycheck to paycheck and start giving your money actual assignments instead of just hoping things magically calm down. And by the way, every one of these tools is available for free at debtsucks.info because these tools do something powerful. They create clarity, they create margin, they create breathing room. But none of them work until you break the chaos first. Because a budget sitting on top of chaos is just organized panic with a login password. And this is the part that matters most, because this isn't just about money. It's about identity. You're moving from a person reacting to life to a person directing it. And that shift, that's where real confidence comes from. Not fake confidence, not loud confidence, quiet confidence. Hey, let's get real for a sec. The Debt Sucks plan, it's awesome. It works. But not everyone has the time or the patience to chip away at their financial Mount Everest. Maybe you're drowning right now, like creditors calling your grandma, paycheck gone before it lands, sleepless nights count as drowning. Sound familiar? Listen, you don't have to white knuckle your way through this alone. Instead of spending years battling debt $1 at a time, I've got you. Bankruptcy isn't a failure, it's a fresh start. And sometimes hitting reset is the smartest thing you can do. At my law firm here in South Carolina, we take the time to listen to your story and help you figure out if bankruptcy is the right choice for you. No pressure, no judgment, just straight answers and real solutions. And if you don't live in South Carolina, don't worry. I can connect you with a trusted attorney in your state. Wherever you are, help is closer than you think. So if you're ready to stop the stress and start fresh, visit debtsucks.info to share a little about your situation or call my office for a free consultation. Let's find your path forward together, because sometimes you don't need a plan, you need a damn lifeline. Let me be that lifeline. So here's what I want you to take away from today. You don't have a money problem. You have a chaos problem. And the solution isn't more pressure. It's not more discipline. It's not screaming, I need to do better in the Target parking lot while holding a $6 coffee and 3 things you absolutely did not go there to buy. The solution is control. Small, honest, consistent control. Because once you have control, everything else becomes possible. Without it, everything feels harder than it actually is. So here's your challenge this week. Go to debtsucks.info and download the Brutally Honest Money Breakdown or the Rock Pile. Not next week, not when things calm down, not after one more paycheck. Do it now. And then sit down, look at the numbers, look at the subscriptions, look at the debt, look at what's actually happening instead of what you hope is happening. Now, clarity is uncomfortable for about 15 minutes, but chaos can steal years. And while you're there, grab the Rock Pile form, the Shit Happens Fun worksheet, and the Level Up Money Plan too, because they're free. People don't need more shame. They need tools. If this episode hit somewhere real for you, follow the podcast, leave a review, share this with someone who's quietly carrying financial stress they barely talk about. Because there are a lot of people walking around looking fine while internally running a financial hostage negotiation every single month. And sometimes one honest conversation is what finally breaks that pattern. Until then, adulting is hard, debt makes it harder, but control makes you dangerous in the best possible way. See you next week.